Though the family members had warned her of dire consequences several times, she continued to trouble Sadiq. She picked up a quarrel almost every day whenever she spotted him. Sadiq's brother Jawad alleges that it is Ishrat who gave a contract to the local goons and got her brother killed only for property. Unidentified miscreants stopped Sadiq near Sumanahalli flyover and hacked him to death. 37-year-old Sadiq Pasha had recently opened a machines tool shop in Kamakshi Palya 15 days ago. He was riding to his in-laws' house after closing his shop. It was around 8 p.m. when 4 unidentified miscreants approached in an auto, spoke to him for a while and then attacked him with iron rods and machetes. He was shifted to the Rajarajeshwari hospital, but he died on the way. Pasha, his brother-in-law and his sister often argued about family issues. The cops are now investigating if the brother-in-law was also involved in the murder.
ಕಾಮಾಕ್ಷಿಪಾಳ್ಯ ಲಿಮಿಟಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಸಾದಿಕ್ ಪಾಸ ಅಂತ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಸಾಲ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕೆಲವು ದಿನ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ನಾವೀಗ ಕಾಮಾಕ್ಷಿಪಾಳ್ಯ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕೇಸ್ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇರೆ ಟೀಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆರೋಪಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಹಿಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟೀಮ್ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕಾದರೆ ಪತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಆರೋಪಿಗೆ ಹಿಡಿತೀವಿ. ಅವ್ರ ಹೆಸರು ಸಾದಿಕ್ ಪಾಸ ಅಂತ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಟೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಗಡಿ ಇದಾವೆ ಕಾಮಾಕ್ಷಿಪಾಳ್ಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವರು ಮನೆ ಬಂದು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗನಗೊಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಏರಿಯಾದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ವು ಕಾಮಾಕ್ಷಿಪಾಳ್ಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಸೋಮನಹಳ್ಳಿ ಸರ್ಕಲ್ ಹತ್ತಿರ ಒಂದು 7-8 ಜನ ಬಂದು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೊಡೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಇದ್ರು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಡಿಟೇಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಅದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಿಂದ, ಬಟ್ ಅದು ಫರ್ದರ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ. ಹತ್ರ ಒಂದು ನಮಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಅನುಮಾನ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅದು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ವೆರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಈಗ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೈಮ ಫೇಸಿ ಅದೇ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅವರು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಜಗಳ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಆಯಿತು, ಕೇಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಮತ್ತು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದ್ದು, ಅದೊಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ. ಅದರ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
Kamakshi Palya police have now taken up the case and are investigating further. They are keen on nabbing the culprit soon. Nagendra Babu, News9, Bengaluru.
Here is the story of a criminal-minded friend from Shimoga who ended up doing the unthinkable. Who is he? What did he do to be showcased on this crime special? Take a look.
In every case, it is essential for the cops to have evidence against the accused. However, these days, criminals destroy all the evidence that could lead the cops to them. Just when they assume that they're going out of the cops' radar, they realize that the cops are way smarter than they had thought. Here is a story from Shimoga, where a criminal-minded friend ended up doing the unthinkable and was thrown behind bars for his grave folly. This is the Konandur police station in Shimoga. It was to this police station that a woman rushed to register a missing complaint as her husband Nagraj had not returned home. Nagraj's family and friends had inquired with everyone who they could think of, but in vain. Alas, she had no choice but to approach the jurisdictional police. At the police station, the inspector calmed the woman down and registered the complaint. The cops conducted a search for Nagraj. They collected information about him from his family. Police learned that Nagraj was a businessman by profession and was always on the move. When the cops tried to call on his mobile number, it was switched off. At first, the cops did not take the case too seriously because Nagraj used to travel anyway. However, after waiting for a good number of days, the cops realized the severity of the case, and that's when they swung into action. The cops were curious to know who was the last person who had spoken to Nagraj on the fateful Sunday, so his family promptly informed them that his friend Bujang had taken him out. It was understood that they had stepped out to down a couple of pegs at the local bar and restaurant nearby. Bujang told the cops that after they were done drinking, they parted ways because Nagraj had to meet somebody else. Bujang claimed that he had then returned home and that was the last time that he had seen Nagraj. The missing case of Nagraj was only getting murkier. Meanwhile, Nagraj's friend of 20 years, Bujang, continued to lead his normal life. It is learned that Bujang and Nagraj used to hang out regularly. Even the last time Nagraj's family saw him, he was with Bujang. While all seemed to look fine between the two, the cops found something was fishy. The cops closely looked at statements provided by Bujang. He had claimed to have seen Nagraj at a bar on Kote Road. To learn the truth, the cops traced Nagraj's location through his mobile phone. Nagraj had gone to Kote Road and then to Davangere and Tumkur. But why? Nagraj's parents treated Bujang like their own son. When they asked him where Nagraj was, Bujang alleged that Manjunath was a womanizer and that he must be out with one of them. Nagraj was gone for days and cops had no idea about his whereabouts. They assumed that he could have had problems in his marital life, due to which he had decided to walk out on his wife. Bujang, who considered Nagraj as his best buddy, was spotted quarrelling with him at a bar in a CCTV footage. This is when their doubt on Bujang only grew stronger. Unlike what Bujang stated to the cops, that he had walked out of the bar with Nagraj, when Nagraj was taken into custody and interrogated, he told the cops that fights of those kinds were common between friends and that there was nothing that they had to worry about. Now the cops then tried to collect details about who would be benefited if Nagraj was kidnapped or killed. They checked his financial status and dealings. It was learned from Nagraj's diary that Bujang always tried to extort money from him. Based on all these things, Bujang was once again taken into police custody. But this time, the interrogation was severe. The cops let their lathis do the talking and he spilled the beans in no time. He admitted to have killed his best friend, Nagraj, for money. The cops asked him to show them where he had hidden Nagraj's body. Bujang took them to a forest nearby where he had put the heinous plan to action. As soon as the cops arrived at the spot, foul smell was emanating from the place. Nagraj's body had decomposed. When they started inspecting the place, cops found Nagraj's body. Cops understood that it had been about a week since Nagraj had been killed. When they learnt about the weapon used for the murder, they were shocked out of their wits. Bujang used a pistol to kill Nagraj. After inspecting the entire spot and confiscating the weapon, they sent the body for an autopsy and took Bujang alias Pani back to the police station. Pani had already admitted to killing Nagraj. The cops did not know the reason why he had committed such a heinous crime. When they questioned him about the same, he narrated a story which seemed familiar to them. Like we mentioned earlier, the duo were the best of friends for over 20 years. It was money that brought bitterness in between these two buddies. It was for 9 lakh rupees that Pani ended up killing Nagraj so brutally. Bhujang also wanted to have a lavish life as Nagraj. He also intended on becoming a businessman. Pani had it all well planned. He had gotten a pistol. On the fateful day, Bhujang came over to Nagraj's place and said that he had some money and took him out on his bike. He took Nagraj straight to the bar. He said that his friend would come to the bar with the money. Meanwhile, both the friends had a nice time having a few pegs and the duo ended up drinking until dusk. Pani still hadn't received his money. He was furious and picked up a quarrel with Nagraj at the bar itself. The duo then calmed themselves down and headed back to Nagraj's home to spend the night. They were both drunk to go back home. However, the nap was just the time Bhujang had required to put his story to a conclusive end. As soon as Nagraj fell asleep, Bhujang did the unthinkable. He took a pistol and shot at Nagraj. Nagraj succumbed on the spot. The next morning, Bhujang headed to the forest where he had left Nagraj's dead body. As soon as he got there, he picked up the body and buried it. Ironically, this is what is left of friendship these days. With the best of friends killing each other for money, there is a reason why the wise have always advised never to deal with money among best friends, for it won't take too long for money to ruin a relationship. Baswaraj Yaraganavi for News 9 Shumaga.